I posted a video of my home's renovation on a certain video software. The nearly 2.0 square meter villa was decorated by me in a very gaudy and festive way with bright red and green. Among a series of comments like, ha 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 ha, and miss, where do you think this old servant should be tied up? There is a man named Lou who commented very seriously, not good looking. The aesthetic is ridiculously bad. And this comment was highly praised and pushed to the top. When I opened my phone and saw it, I was so angry that I jumped. Since I was a child, people have said that my aesthetic is bad. The more they said it, the more annoyed I became. I directly picked up the keyboard and fought back vigorously. Then let's see how beautiful your home can be. He didn't reply. A group of people followed and commented below. I don't know if the aesthetic is bad or not. Anyway, I am envious of such a big house. Can you afford a villa? How dare you laugh at others that aesthetic? Miss, this old servant thinks it's extremely beautiful. Can I be the security captain? I didn't have time to respond. In just a few minutes, I received the man with the single name Lumi and asked me to click on a video. The video publisher is himself. It's his home filmed on the spot. The pure European-style decoration is filmed from the entrance straight to the balcony. Outside the huge balcony is the river view and the bund with lights, just coming on in the early evening. When walking back inside the house, the decoration mainly in black, white and gray colors, matched with various exquisite and high-quality furniture and ornaments with high prices. It looks very luxurious and textured. I was silent for a moment. It seemed that his home was indeed more beautiful. Before I had time to reply, dozens of comments popped up below the video. I said why he thought the decoration of that big villa was bad. So it turns out he is a young master. Looking at it this way, my home is not even as big as the young master's balcony. Young master, can you let me take a look at your bathroom again? I think it's suitable for me to be tied up there. I don't know how many streets his aesthetic is better than that villa woman. When I saw the last sentence, my blood rushed straight to the top of my head. I grabbed the key to my home and went back directly. My valiant appearance startled the old man who was having a spa at home. I said, "Lend me your plane." The old man? The beautician? What are you going to do? I said that I was mocked by a perverted man on the internet. I can't lose. I want to. The old man shook his head and said, "What's the big deal? It's just a small matter. Why use a plane?" I said. That person mocked my bad aesthetic. The old man immediately sat up. Aesthetic is nothing. Use money to crush him. I looked at the old man's red slippers on his feet and realized that only people with similar experiences can empathize. I took several pictures of the family plane and deliberately took pictures of the luxurious and exquisite decoration inside the plane. I sighed in my heart. I complained that my dad's buying a plane was useless at first. Only today do I know what it means to take precautions. I casually posted the plane photos. The commentary completely exploded. This is not a young lady. This is a princess. The sofa on the private plane for putting shit. The plane is going to cry. Upstairs. Shit is a bit too much. Right? This is clearly the color of money. I won't be a security guard. I can be a dog too. Suddenly I think everything in Mrs. Home looks very high-end. High-end. Elegant, and classy. The mockery is just because they don't understand it. Right? People who are watching the excitement directly that led to the bottom of my video. No matter how well the house is decorated, it's still not as good as a plane we love someone else's. Where does he get the courage to mock the young lady? I saw him reply with a question mark. From that question mark, it can be seen that he is still somewhat tenacious and unwilling to admit defeat. I just wanted to pretend to be magnanimous and say, "It's okay. Although my aesthetic is not good. But my family is rich. Renovating the house is up to me. It's reasonable that it can't be as exquisite as your home." But before I could even type out the words, he posted a video. The video pixels are already a bit blurry. It stayed inside the plane for almost 10 seconds. It's still very clear. The space is spacious. The furnishings on the plane continue his high-end and exquisite style as always. There is nothing wrong with it. The caption, bought it in full when playing stocks at the age of 21. It has been gathering dust for a long time. During my moment of silence, there have been hundreds of comments. Rebirth. Whose dog am I? I admit that I spoke a bit loudly just now. Can I watch this video with a monthly income of 3,000? Oh. It turns out that I am the one who is tenacious and unwilling to admit defeat. Round to failure. But it doesn't matter. When people walk in the world, they can't rely on money. What can they rely on? It's having many skills doesn't burden one. I have been learning photography for several years. I take pictures and record every place I go. Even my works have won awards in photography exhibitions. Have you seen me showing off? Am I proud? I added word by word at the end of the video's caption. This is my work when I participated in a photography exhibition at the age of 18. Looking back, it has been many years. Yes. I showed off. I am proud. For this, I can no longer be low-key. A young lady who loves photography. I didn't see anything else. I just saw that she is very rich and has been to many places. Woo woo woo. Sister. Ask mom and dad to pick me up and go home. Sister. You are my only sister. I crossed my legs and was swiping videos on the bed. After a few minutes, I received an from Lou. I was secretly happy. He is anxious. He is anxious. He can't compete anymore, right? Then on his homepage, there is the blue sky and sea blending into one. The sky mirror is clear and peaceful. The Mongolian plains are endless. The TC in Guizhou surges forward. The northwest desert is filled with twinkling stars. There is also a caption, the great rivers and mountains of the motherland. If one cannot travel all over them, it will be a regret in this life. Oh my. He is really good at adding value, right? This height has reached the great rivers and mountains of the motherland all of a sudden. How can I compete? How can you make me compete? Woo woo woo, so beautiful. Can't you stop? Let this old servant feast their eyes again. Why do these two people have the same hobbies? It's a bit ship-worthy. I took a serious look. This netizen named, not afraid of making a big deal out of shipping, is making very dangerous remarks. I'm desperately trying to outdo him. Here you are shipping couples. Are you polite? If I can't outdo you in academics, then can't I outdo you in sports? To outdo him, I rummaged through my boxes and drawers and found my certificate and trophy from the swimming competition in high school. I casually waved it in front of the camera. And then in the next shot, I asked my best friend to film me swimming, to show that I am a good swimmer. I warmed up for half an hour. My body, which is not as flexible as it was in high school, then jumped into the water. After my best friend finished filming, she said it was amazing. I took a look and thought, no, the posture is not graceful enough. And it's not fast enough. Mainly it's not fast enough. I must look extremely awesome. So after swimming back and forth repeatedly for an afternoon, I successfully got a cramp in my foot. In the evening, while rubbing my cramped foot, I satisfactorily uploaded the video filmed this afternoon. Little brat. Competing with me. The comments and mentions were still familiar. The most common comment was, round 4. Lost. I was stunned. How did I lose again? Clicking on the mentions. There he showed his diving certificate. The caption was especially cheeky with a hand covering the mouth and laughing. The name on the certificate was blurred. But vaguely one can see that the last character of his name is Meng. The second video was a video of him riding a horse. There was only a side profile of his face. And it was also blurred. But it's not hard to see that he is tall with long legs and his figure is incredibly good. Even the exposed part of his arm and neck is very fair. I watched it several times. After pulling myself away from admiring the handsome man for a moment, I realized a problem. No good. This brat wants to outdo me. There are still people in the comments section urging me, Miss, This old servant has come to wake you up and ask you to post a video. There are also one or two occasional sarcastic comments when it comes to sports that only the upper class would do. Some people just can't. Right? Am I the only one who thinks her swimming video is deliberately showing off? Everyone knows how a little girl gets her money. Right? I swiped past it and didn't care much. Royce has posted for an hour. Miss should already be on her way to the horse ranch. He's right. I am indeed on my way to the horse ranch. But there's a problem. I really can't ride a horse. I don't even have a VIP membership at the horse ranch. I spent a 7-figure sum of money and got a VIP membership. After changing clothes and going in, I even have difficulty getting on the horse. The horse pushed to me by the trainer and I don't get along well. The teacher who teaches me to ride said, "It's okay. It takes some time for the horse and a person's temperaments to get along." I said, "Do you think we can get along today? I'm in a hurry." He probably doesn't know what I'm in such a hurry for. He said, "Then let me take you to the toilet." I waved my hand and said, "Oh, it's not because of that." While I was struggling to get along with the horse, a trainer outside let a horse in. That horse was all white. Under the light, its fur was shiny. It looked sleek and smooth. The steps it took were extremely elegant. It looked very expensive. I clicked my tongue twice. Beautiful. The teacher next to me also took a look and said, "This is the horse of a VIP at our horse ranch. It's been bought out. It's really beautiful. Its personality is also relatively lively. Basically, no one except its owner can control it." While speaking, he asked the person leading the horse, "Has Royce left?" "Not yet. He's still at the horse ranch. Said he'll rest for a while." Recently, whenever I hear the word Lou, I feel uncomfortable all over. Suddenly, even looking at that horse becomes unpleasant. I turned my head and continued to get along with my horse. After I finally got on the horse with great effort, and was led by the teacher to take a turn around the horse ranch, I gave up this sport. I asked the teacher, "When can I ride him and gallop?" The teacher was quite humorous. He said that it might be easier for me to overeat than to gallop. I said okay. Fine. Refund. The teacher said that the national football team can't refund money. And they definitely won't either. Besides, as long as I keep coming and come for a few years, it should be possible. The teacher is really humorous. But it's of no help to me. Will I admit defeat just like this? Impossible. You see, he can ride horses, take photos, and swim. What does this prove? It proves that his extracurricular activities are very good. What does this prove again? It proves that his academic performance might not be so good. He doesn't study hard. Right. I found some videos at my alma mater, and took out my graduation certificate again. Let's compete in education. I even specially made a video and posted it. After a long time, he mentioned me over there. It was a video of him playing the cello at the school's evening party. The shooting angle was relatively far and a bit shaky. The face couldn't be seen clearly, but one could see the man sitting on the stage. Elegant and at ease. His forehead hair covered some of his slightly drooping eyes. The notes flowed out from his hands. As someone who has learned musical instruments, I can hear the very high degree of proficiency and completion. There's no flaw to pick on. So Royce is also from Peking University. Woo woo woo. Husband is so handsome. This is better than the villa lady. But Miss Hippo is also from a 985 university. There's no need to put her down so much. So it turns out that only I am here to make up the numbers in this world. I looked left and right. Playing the violin. Right? Trying to outdo me with musical instruments. Right? It's okay. Then don't blame me for being merciless. Bro. I finally took out my trump card. A hooligan of the musical instrument world. From the moment you are born until you die. The Sue on A. Can this high-pitched Sue on A send him away? I really played a piece in front of the screen. I have to say that the suwane is truly a traditional musical instrument. It combines pathos, gracefulness, high pitch, and sadness. Those who hear it are saddened, and those who listen to it shed tears. After a long time, that person only posted one work. A picture with only an ellipsis on it. The people below are all asking him, just asking if I don't understand. Did the young master admit defeat? No. The young master was stunned by the beauty of the eldest lady who showed her face. As soon as the eldest lady showed her face, the young master stopped competing directly. What is this if it's not love? Everyone. I want to see 100. 0 words of this plot on Po tonight. So when I was desperately thinking, were you all thinking about these? CPS can be unpopular but not weird. Everyone. Because I've been too obsessed with the internet recently. My parents are deeply worried that I'm still not doing my proper job at my age. So they unanimously decided to let me start a family and establish a career. Start a family first. Then establish a career. I said okay. I want to marry Tony Lung Chuai. They said yes, and helped me contact the famous psychiatrist Shang Ming Rui. I said, is there any necessary connection between these two? They said yes. They are all people I can see only when there is something wrong with my spirit. My mother advised me, just go on blind dates if your dad asks you to. After going, say you didn't like them. Isn't this just fooling around? If you insist on not going, your dad will be so angry that he will be hospitalized again. Don't you know your dad? He has a short temper. I think what my mother said makes sense. But then I thought, but what if the other party likes me? After all, I'm incredibly beautiful. My mother said, that's true. Those introduced to you are all prominent people. If the other party likes you, it will be difficult to refuse later. After a little thought, I said, it's okay. Leave it to me. So in the next few days, I was all preparing for blind dates and didn't have much time to compete with that perverted man anymore. But although we didn't have time to post videos to compete, we still exchanged words in private messages without giving in. Even because sometimes the private messages of video software can't be seen. We added each other and often left friendly comments under each other's moments. We skillfully use remarks that can directly raise the blood pressure of the other party. Such as, is that all? Is that all? Do you really need to post such an ordinary thing? Is your watch fake? On the night when I was going to go to bed early and go to the blind date in a better state tomorrow, I swiped and saw that he posted another video. Bright. At first glance, it looks like he has an appointment with someone. No way. I can't lose. A meeting with you is called a date. Sweet enough. Isn't this sweeter than your simple bright? Has it started again? Has it started again? Do we have to compete even in this? The young master said, Bright. And the lady said that a meeting with Bright is called a date. Could it be that they will meet tomorrow? This comment stands out among many comments. While sitting with my feet up, I typed, a meeting with others is called a date. A meeting with him is like being in prison. Amidst a burst of laughter, I fell asleep happily. The next day, I got up early, put on makeup with foundation 3 shades darker than my skin tone, wore a shiny skirt and shoes with pearls, and carried a fluffy bag and went out. How should I put it? In my mother's words, it's very naturally tacky. To prevent the other party from liking me, I have a second plan. Before entering, I deliberately gave the person some more money and repeatedly told them, later, when I give a signal, come over. Pretend to run into me here and say, hey, what are you doing here? I'll say I'm on a blind date. Then you say, didn't you used to be desperately in love with Son Yan? You said you would only marry him in this life. Why are you still on a blind date here? The extra actor I hired to act nodded vigorously and asked me, are there any other lines? He looked very excited. I think he really has the qualities of a professional actor. I patted his shoulder satisfactorily and said, you can improvise the rest. In short, just mess it up. He nodded to show that he understood. I took a deep breath and was about to go in. The blind date was sitting by the window. Hearing the sound, he turned his head and looked over. This face is a lethal weapon. Although his expression is indifferent, his eyes, like obsidian, are extremely bright. It seems that the people in his eyes will even have clearer reflections. Under his tall nose, his mouth has a perfect lip shape and is bright red. It seems that blood can seep out during passionate kisses. He was sitting there quietly, but appeared calm and lazy, as if he had an air of nobility that possessed everything and was even more attractive than his extremely handsome face. Both he and I were stunned for a moment. 1,000 albicus ran through my mind. It was so speechless. Why didn't you tell me earlier that he was so handsome? Maybe I should pretend to have gone to the wrong place? Just as I was about to turn around, he called out to me. Yvonne, right? I'm not Yvonne. You've got the wrong person. Uncle showed me your photo. That's right. It's me. Hello. I sat down reluctantly. Are you sick? He can still recognize me even though the photo is so heavily photoshopped? He still guided the meeting process and took the initiative to introduce himself. Hello. I'm Royce. Well, the name sounds nice. I suggested adding each other on WeChat first. I'm afraid I'm really too ugly today. If we don't add each other for future contact, it will definitely be over. We took out our phones and scanned. Immediately, the profile page of Perverted Man popped up on my screen. He obviously saw it too. His expression froze for a moment, and he raised his eyebrows and looked at me. I apologized and smiled. Sorry. Maybe my phone is stuck. Let's scan again. He also nodded and scanned again. Still, the profile page of Perverted Man popped up. We looked at each other and both found some emotions of surprise, speechlessness, confusion, and embarrassment on each other's faces. With the thought of not giving up until reaching the Yellow River, I opened the dialog box and sent to the Perverted Man. Then his phone rang. Now, what can I say? The scene is a bit cold. How cold is it exactly? It's as cold as the wind blowing and making one feel chilly. Lou? Colorful little hippo. He is much calmer than me. Okay. Shut up. Don't call me by my online name. After the initial embarrassment passed, I finally realized. Oh my god. What am I wearing? Meeting offline with someone who has questioned my aesthetic sense online. And I am actually like this. I couldn't help feeling a bit embarrassed by today's outfit. I touched my face and coughed to explain. I went to the seaside recently and got a bit tanned. But I'll be white again after a while. He responded with an and then suddenly asked me very seriously. But why are your hands still so white? They're not tanned at all. I was choked for a moment. But looking at the faint smile in his beautiful eyes, I thought again that handsome people are really pleasing to the eye. I said I wore gloves at the seaside. I'm crazy. Don't mind me. Woo woo. The two of them sat for a while. He propped his chin and listened to me quietly. I told him that my outfit today is actually a very unique style. But in fact, I only wear this style of clothes occasionally. I still have more normal clothes. There's no problem with my aesthetic. Although it's not very convincing. I feel that the atmosphere between us is gradually becoming harmonious. Although he looks like a handsome and cold guy, he is actually quite interesting, with a bit of cool and sarcastic humor. Just when we were getting into a good conversation, the actor I arranged came on stage. Only then did I suddenly remember this and quickly winked at him to tell him not to come. Go away. Go away. He had an expression on his face as if saying, don't worry. He understood. Then he resolutely walked towards me. Oh, no. I blinked my eyes more and more forcefully. Royce asked me. What's wrong? Is there something wrong with your eyes? I said. Yes. There's sand in my eyes. Don't ask me why there would be sand in my eyes in an upscale tea restaurant. He leaned closer to take a look. This skin is really good. So delicate that even up close, no pores can be seen. But I don't have time to sigh. Because the extra actor has already shouted my name. Yvonne! Why are you here? I twitched the corner of my mouth and had no choice but to follow the plot. I'm here on a blind date. On one side, Rice had already sat back in his seat, his long legs gracefully crossed. He watched us play our parts, and even took a sip of coffee with a smile. You're on a blind date? Then what about Song Yan? Didn't you chase after him desperately for many years and say that he is the only one for you? After he finished speaking, Royce looked at me as if waiting for my reaction. I waved my hand weakly and said, I was young and ignorant back then. The extra actor is really dedicated. He said vividly. But just a few days ago, you still said you would love him all your life? You also said that without him, you wouldn't live. Enough. I know you're dedicated. But there's no need to be so overly dedicated. I quickly said. It's okay. I've let it go. Then, before he could open his mouth again, I quickly drove him away. This is so embarrassing. I'm so embarrassed in front of my grandma. I sighed. Let's call it a day. I'm a bit tired. We can make an appointment again if there's a chance next time. Royce pursed his lips, then looked at me for a moment. Then he put down his coffee cup and answered with a good, while looking down. I slowly walked back home. After lying on the bed for a long time, I sighed and opened a video software. I randomly posted a caption. My native language is speechlessness, accompanied by a messy selfie. After a while, I suddenly found that Royce had liked it. What does it mean? Come and mock me. Right? At the same time, several comments popped up. It was the account that had previously said I was being provocative, and that I wasn't a proper girl. Even her comment had attracted some people who agreed with her to follow and comment. After getting a wave of traffic, you start fishing, right? There's no need to say more about what kind of person you are, right? There were also people echoing below. Oh, if she doesn't pretend to be a green tea and hook men, how can she get a house and a car? The comments became more and more glaring. I clicked on the profile and found that these women had all simultaneously posted some rather explicit comments under his video. I took a screenshot, thinking that I had lost enough face today. Let's regain some face. I sent the screenshot to Royce and asked him, what's going on? Are you guiding your fans to cyberbully me? He immediately replied with a. Then he continued, wait a moment. I'm taking a shower. I'll deal with it soon. How can you reply while taking a shower? Philips special counterfeit waterproof phone. Counterfeit phones are just awesome. Little thing. Quite talkative. I looked at it and smiled. Suddenly, I felt a little better. So I also got up and took a shower. When I came back after taking a shower, the comment list that I had already read popped up again. I clicked in and found that Royce had directly replied to that comment. She is a clean girl. You are a jealous sour cucumber. Under this comment, the people who shipped the couple were simply exploding. But there were also questioning voices. Like, we are your fans. That's why we are speaking up for you. Isn't it not good to reply so harshly to fans? He immediately replied with another one. I don't need any fans. I was just joking with her. I don't want to see anyone attacking her in the name of being my fan. TSK TSK, TSK, TSK. It's a bit cute. Look. On the internet, people get into arguments and find out that the other person is their blind date. What kind of urban light-hearted romantic novel is this? Just after I had been shipping for 2 minutes, the male lead of the romantic novel sent me a message. Is it convenient to answer the phone? I replied with a yes, and a voice call came in. I picked up after 2 seconds. His voice sounded even cleaner over the phone, as if it had a captivating charm. He said, "Are you still unhappy?" I said, "Not really. I'm not such a petty person. Look at this character I'm creating. It's comparable to a new generation idol." Okay. Then do you have time tomorrow? I thought about creating an ambitious character. So I cleared my throat and said, I might not be free tomorrow. I've been busy with company affairs recently. Maybe I'll have to work overtime at the company. Just as I finished speaking, my mom came in without me knowing when. She probably thought I was on the phone with my best friend. My best friend is like my mom's second daughter. We can talk about anything. My mom came in and shouted, How long has it been since you went to the company? Stop pretending. You still say you're working overtime. Let Jing Jing listen, and see if it's funny. As she spoke, she scooped up a big lump of my face cream and left. Before leaving, she didn't forget to say, Tell Jing Jing to come over for dinner when she has time. I silently watched her come in and go out. Holding my phone, I was petrified in the wind. Royce's clear laughter from the other end of the phone reached my eardrums through the phone and struck straight to the heart. Jing Jing doesn't have time to go for dinner. Ask Auntie if Royce can go for dinner? I'm tired. Let everything be destroyed. Okay. I'll pick you up tomorrow. That's settled. I replied with a yes. Until the call ended. I could hear that his voice was full of laughter. It's so hard to be a person. Woo woo. Of course. The next day, I still went out beautifully dressed. So beautiful that Royce couldn't believe this was my aesthetic. No one can match my charm. I flipped my hair on the passenger seat. Royce let out a sound. Yes. You recovered really quickly. What recovered quickly? I asked him while biting on a straw. Just as it was a traffic light. Royce stopped the car and turned to look at me. His beautiful eyes fell on my lips. I saw him immediately lower his eyes, turn his head back, cough a little uncomfortably, and the tip of his fair ear turned bright red. He coughed and said, Well, yesterday you still said you got and at the seaside. Today you suddenly became fair again. I gave an awkward smile and said casually, Everyone has a different constitution. Royce was amused and had a smile on his lips all the way. As I drank the drink he bought for me, I secretly looked at him. His side profile is incredibly handsome. Damn it. I was completely immersed in looking at his face, and didn't notice at all where he had brought me. Only after getting off the car did I suddenly realize. This place looks so familiar. This is the horse ranch where I learned horseback riding before. Royce said, Don't you want to learn horseback riding? I'll teach you. How do you know I want to learn horseback riding? He smiled and didn't speak. He just pushed me to change clothes. When I came out after changing clothes, he was already waiting for me at the horse ranch. He was standing next to a snow-white horse. The horse's fur was so shiny that in the early autumn morning sunlight, they both seemed to be coated with a layer of soft golden light. So beautiful that they didn't seem like ordinary things. I touched my racing heart. It's over. Something's wrong. It seems that I've fallen for someone while shipping a CP. I walked up to the horse. A teacher who taught me before came over and greeted me, saying, Yvonne, Royce, you two actually came together. I nodded at him. He said, Yvonne praised Royce's horse as beautiful before. Today Royce can take you for a ride himself. Huh? Is the horse I praised before this horse? The teacher nodded at me and then walked away. Royce took my hand and let me touch the horse's head. You praised Fei as cute before? Ah. Right. But I didn't remember just now. As I spoke, I stroked the horse's head. The feel was quite good. It's only been a few days and you've forgotten. I have horse blindness. Theft. He laughed, and then said to me, Do you want to try? But I heard before that he has a bad temper, and only you can ride him. Royce said, It doesn't matter. I'll hold the rope. I nodded and was helped onto the horse by him. He held the rope and laid the horse walking slowly. On the horse, I could see his jet black hair surrounded by a halo of sunlight. Under the hair was a white neck and a broad back, gradually narrowing into a slender waist and straight long legs in an inverted triangle shape. A beauty. A beauty. It makes people's mouths water. Perhaps sensing my gaze, he also turned around and looked up at me. Those eyes on his stern little face were extremely bright and beautiful. He smiled at me, and then they curved into crescent shapes. Why? Are you infatuated with me? Conceited. Do you want me to take a video for you? You look so cool and beautiful riding a FEIN now. It's rare for Royce to take the initiative to praise me. I was charmed by his sweet words and quickly nodded. He took a video for me. When I was sitting in the passenger seat on the way home, and watching this video, he also leaned over to take a look. Well, it's really quite beautiful. Do you want to post it for others to see? It's such a waste to only look at it by yourself when it's so beautiful. That makes sense. So I uploaded it to a video software. When he sent me to my doorstep, neither of us intended to leave first. We chatted about various things. Finally, after an hour of dawdling, the comments under the video had exploded. So Miss can ride horses too. I don't know if it's an illusion, but I always feel that the horse Miss is riding is the same one as Royce's. Upstairs. I can tell you responsibly that it's not an illusion. So has the young lady met Royce already? And they rode the same horse. Rounding it up. Isn't it like they're already married? It's really hard to end this without getting married. Just as I was thinking about how to explain, Royce commented under my video. FEIN likes you very much. Let's go again in a few days. I still wanted to pretend to be calm. That kind of. We are in the ambiguous stage. But at the same time I am still very reserved. So I replied with, where does FEIN like me? He almost threw me off just now. I thought this degree should be fine. It's a little cocoa and also seems like friends are joking. Give myself 100 points. Then he commented again, well, it's not that FEIN likes you. It's that I like you. I couldn't care less about the exploding comments section that seemed like it was Chinese New Year. I directly clicked on him and sent a what? I was possessed by a funny girl and replied without hesitation, do it. After replying, I felt that this was a very serious moment. So I took a screenshot of him saying he liked me and sent it to him. What does this mean? Over there. It showed that the other party was typing. Then stopped typing. After a while, it was typing again. To be honest, my anxiously waiting heart is probably more tormented than his. Just say that you just like me. And I'll say okay. Bro. I'm willing. Won't we start a sweet love then? What on earth are you typing and then canceling? Canceling? So anxious. I was almost unable to hold back and sent him a message. Finally, he replied to me. He said, come out. My heart trembled. Without thinking, I went downstairs. As expected, he was downstairs. The autumn night was a bit cool. He was wearing a long black windbreaker. The night breeze blew up the corners of his clothes and hair. He leaned against the car door and waited for me to come out. When he saw me running over, he looked up and smiled at me. Even tonight's moonlight is not as gentle as him. I asked him, why are you here? Don't you want an explanation? He said, I always feel that confessing on the internet is not sincere enough. I was a bit embarrassed to look at him, and lowered my head and coughed. Well, what do you want to say? He coughed. When I looked up at him, the moment our eyes met, we both shyly looked away at the same time. In fact, I saw you at the horse ranch before. At that time, you didn't even know how to mount a horse. I stood beside the horse ranch and watched you learning, while being confused and pouting, and bickering with the trainer. I found it quite interesting. Later, when you posted the video of playing the Suwane, I recognized you. You looked very funny playing the Suwane. Both funny and cute. I learned from the horse trainer that your surname is He. Someone surnamed Hean living near my home. So I asked my dad. My dad really knows your father. I asked my dad to talk to your father about arranging a blind date. Later, when we met, I found that you were even funnier than I imagined. I glared at him hard. He quickly said, no, not funny, cute, cute. So, I like you. Will you He didn't finish. I quickly nodded. Yes. I do. He smiled and just stood in front of me and smiled. That soft expression seemed to be tempting me to commit a crime. I endured and endured, but still couldn't resist the urge to hug him. His body stiffened for a moment, and then he gently hugged me back. The fresh and cold fragrance on his body surrounded me. His pointed chin rested on my neck, and the fine bangs were a bit prickly. After hugging for a while, he seemed to suddenly remember something. He released me and took out his mobile phone, pointing to the chat record of "What are you doing?" and "doing just now?" He asked me, "Although I know I'm handsome enough to be eaten, but you don't have to be so impatient, do you?" I snatched his mobile phone in embarrassment and anger. After making a fuss, I was hugged into his arms again. In fact, I know that there is really no need to be in a hurry, because we still have a very long time and countless nights spent by each other's side.